Thank you, Belinda. I appreciate it.
Sure, you're welcome. Do you need anything else from me? I was gonna go get something to eat.
No, go ahead. That's what I'm gonna go do too. I think
Fine.
they'll be getting on here as you know here in a little bit. So we
All
might as
right.
well get food while we can.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. For my speakers that are on, we've still got about 10 minutes left in our lunch break. So just so you guys know where we're at with our day. Hello, everybody. We got just one more minute. Start back at 1. All right. Well, in the interest of time, because we've got a lot of really great guest speakers here for this session, we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome, everybody. I'm glad to have everybody here. Glad everybody was able to come back and join us after lunch. So we are going to get started with our Ready Community Panel. So I've asked several different community agencies to join us to talk about the different things that they can provide as an organization to the children and the families that you work with to help get them prepared for school, because we all know it's not just about the academics. There's so many other things that come into play to help get our kids ready for school. So we are going to get started. Thank you. I've seen some people go ahead and they're typing in the chat. Belinda, do you think we need to have them do it after you just put the title in? Should I have them redo it?
No, that's fine. That's not a problem.
Okay, so everybody just make sure you put your first and last name in the chat box with your agency. Presenters, you guys can all share your screens, but if you'd rather, I know a couple of you emailed me your PowerPoints. I'm happy to share mine if you'd like. So we are going to start with Wendy Huntley with Connecting Kids to Meals. Oh, you're muted, Wendy.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. You'd think I would know by now, right?
It's all good. It's technology. It works when it wants to.
Absolutely. I am the president of Connecting Kids to Meals. So glad to, be here and have an opportunity to share a little bit about our organization and what we do as it relates to just supporting the kids and the families in our community. And so, we have, I want to start out by just kind of giving you some background information about hunger and food insecurity across the country. And then we'll talk about what's happening right here in our community. And so, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, in 2020, 35.2 million families face food insecurity, and we've got about 11 million kids that were food insecure. Well, the projections have just recently come out earlier this month, and they are projecting that 50 million families are facing food insecurity now as a result of the pandemic, and 17 million kids are now food insecure. So those numbers have jumped dramatically. And once they actually finish their calculations, I will not be surprised if those numbers are actually a bit higher. These are a list of the federal nutrition programs that are in place to help provide some support for those families that are facing food insecurity. So obviously we have SNAP, we have school breakfast, National School Lunch Program, WIC, and then I wanted to highlight the last two programs that our organization operates. That's the Child and Adult Care Food Program, CACFP. We utilize that program to provide our after school meals. And then the Summer Food Service Program, we utilize that to make sure that kids have access to meals in the summer months. In our country, 1 in 7 kids is food insecure. In Ohio, 1 in 6. In Lucas County, 1 in 4. And so just some data to give to you: poverty rates 40%, the state average is 19.5%. And just recently in a report from Feeding America, the impact of coronavirus on food insecurity in 2020 by Feeding America suggests that Ohio is now in the top 10 as the highest rates, as a state with one of the highest rates of projected food insecurity as a result of the pandemic. So the problem has been bad. it's just getting worse. So when we talk about some of our relevant school stats that support what we're talking about, 22 million students qualified for free and reduced meals at schools, meaning their families were at or below the poverty levels and needed some support, some subsidized meals, breakfast and lunch at school. First time in history. Ohio, we have about 750,000 kids that qualify, and right here in Lucas County, about 60,000 kids that qualify. So you're talking about TPS, you're talking about Washington Local, you're talking about Sylvania, Rossford, Oregon, you're talking about in our immediate community. We have a lot of our school districts that are facing some challenges with a high number of kids that rely on school meals. So when something like the pandemic happens, it greatly impacts them. So impacts of childhood hunger, most of you know this, but obviously it doesn't just cause their little tummies to rumble and for them to be hungry, but we see impacts as it relates to academics, their behavior, they're not able to focus. We also see stress levels. Kids know when their families are struggling, when their parents are struggling, they know when their families are struggling, and obviously health related issues. It impacts their proper development because they're not getting the appropriate amount of proteins, vitamins, minerals, nutrients, all of the great things that they need when they have an opportunity to access healthy meals. So that's where our organization comes in. So we've been, feeding kids for over 18 years. And, our mission is obviously to provide hot, healthy meals to kids at no cost, and primarily to at-risk kids, but now it's to even, more kids, because more kids are at risk, ages 18 and under, who are located in low-income and underserved areas. So, we utilize our expertise in this area to utilize those federal child nutrition programs, leverage reimbursement dollars. We've provided over 7 million meals throughout these 18 years. And just last year, our numbers jumped to about 875,000 meals served. And we're so appreciative of, so many of our partners. I see some of the folks right here on the phone and on this call that really helped make this possible. But, as I mentioned, we run our after school meal partner program. We partner with after school programs that are doing some sort of educational enrichment or fun activities, even sports teams, to make sure that they have access to meals so they can fully maximize the educational enrichment and fun activities that they're involved in. So we provide about 2,000 to 2,500 meals right now. We're being very conservative and not real aggressive in what we're doing right now because there's a food shortage going on. And so we're challenged, just like so many others that you're reading about in the news, folks that are having issues getting all of their food items in. We're having that same issue. Schools are having those issues. We're having those issues. But in the summer months, we actually run our summer meal program, and we partner, with sites wherever kids are gathering. So our city parks and pools, our summer programs, sports teams, pretty much so our emergency shelters, anywhere that kids are gathering throughout the year. We're trying to make sure that we are enabling those kids to have access and their families to make sure that those kids have access. So summer months we jump up to about 5,000 to 6,000 meals per day. This is just a sampling of just some of our partners where we actually align and make sure that kids have access to meals, whether it's, again, some of our shelters, some of our, programming partners, some of our community centers, Boys and Girls Clubs, et cetera, TPS, Washington Local, you name it. We want to make sure that we're there, and we utilize our federal programs and draw down reimbursement dollars, but there's a gap in funding. So, we're happy because we have a plethora of folks that step in and say, yes, we're going to help, whether it's, grants, whether it's, other things, whether it's, contributions, donating vans, whatever. We need the help because of the massive number of meals that we're actually providing to, kids and their families in this community. I just love this slide here because it really lets you know that, even some of our youngest members of our community recognize that some of their, friends are struggling. And so we oftentimes have kids who do fundraisers for us to make sure that other kids have access to meals. And so, again, we're grateful from the largest organizations, foundations, grantors, all the way down to the smallest of our local residents that help us to make sure that kids have access to meals. And if you're interested in partnering, if you are doing any sort of after school, programming, let us know, give us a shout. This is the time, we're actually going through our process. So there is a bit of a paperwork process. You have to make sure to complete some of our forms. We have to get some of these health and fire inspections completed. We submit your application to the Ohio Department of Education, which oversees sponsors like Connecting Kids to Meals who are operating these federal programs. And then once we get approved by them, to be able to provide meal service at your site, we can start providing that service. I will make a point of distinction for this group. I know some of the folks on the phone are actually, operating early childhood centers. We actually don't have that particular sponsorship to provide meals to those centers, but we do provide meals to some of our partners and encourage them to go to our partner libraries or nearby locations where they can actually get meals and make sure that their little kiddos during the after school hours of 3 to 5 have an opportunity to access those meals. And then I would be remiss if I didn't, recognize Wendy Peastrue from United Way and all the work that, we've done together in connection with building our weekend meal program. We are able to not just provide weekday meals, but on Fridays, which are Pizza Fridays, we actually have an opportunity to hand out to kids a healthy bag of breakfast and snack items and make sure that they have healthy options that they can reach for during the weekend, because we know that so many of our kids are struggling, and 3 out of every 4 teachers report that kids come to school hungry on a regular basis, and that they themselves spend on average $300 a year making sure they've got breakfast bars and fruit and other things that they can provide to kids. And so, it is going to take everyone pulling together. It's our schools, it's our community organizations, it's sponsors like my organization, Connecting Kids to Meals. It's everybody, funders, volunteers even. It takes everybody to make sure that, we're able to meet kids where their needs are and to help support the families, because what we're facing complex social and economic factors, some of which are out of our control. The pandemic has just worsened this condition, and in particular for some of our communities that are underserved and have been impacted in a disproportionate fashion. So our goal is just to make sure that kids have access, and recognizing kids need healthy meals every single day. And so Connecting Kids to Meals, we're here to do that, and we work with our partners, our collaborators, our funders, our parents, our kids, our school districts, everybody, in order to make sure that that happens. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wendy. And I should have said that's at the very beginning of the panel. So we have 5 speakers on our panel. We're going to give each one of them about 10 minutes to present to us on everything that they do. And that'll still leave us with 10 minutes at the end that you guys can ask questions and different things like that. So we will move on. I don't know that all of them will connect quite this nicely, but Wendy Peastrue from United Way, if you would like to go next, since Wendy Huntley gave you a shout out, we'll do it that way.
All right. Hey, everybody. Good to see you on a Friday afternoon, and appreciate the time, Heather. I can go ahead. Do you want me to share the slides I've got, or how do you want me to?
That totally whatever your comfort level is. If you want to share, go right ahead.
All right. Let me see if I can find them. That would be a good start, right?
If not, I have them.
Okay, if you've got them, thanks. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you all. So, United Way, we've been around for, we're looking at 104 years, a very old organization, obviously, serving community in a number of levels. And early childhood is actually something we worked in the very beginning, a big part of our work. We have invested millions of dollars in it in the last 6 years with our last strategic plan, and then we're currently doing the same kind of thing. Really appreciate the fact that we have so many members of our community who need this support, and especially children, but families in general, because it does make their lives easier. And, through the pandemic, one of the things we were really focused on was the work in advocating for families and the research that we could do as an organization, because we have been investing for so many years in this space, and those organizations, it's incumbent on them to get information into us to better understand their work and their programs and the kinds of folks they're serving. So we have a nice synergy to be able to learn from and share as a platform. I want to recognize Lucas Camusa-Stahl, who's on the call. He may be able to field questions with me, who's done a tremendous job really talking through this with folks. And so we're just going to take you through some bits and pieces of what we've been doing, especially in the last year and a half, and then what we're planning to do in the future, and some resources that would be available to you at any time. And we're always happy to share. We have a number of these on our website. So looking forward to the conversation today. So Heather, thank you, and go to the next slide. So really, it started with in Lucas's shop, really examining, I think, the legislation that's been available, to shine a light on this. And then for our work, and when we talk about United Way advocacy, one of the things we are doing is we've got now about 500 folks who are engaged with our newsletter, who do come to meetings and that sort of thing. We have been making them aware. We have done the same with the board. We have done the same with our corporate funders and our legislators especially. Lucas has really has been focused on this work and telling the story. So making sure that we understand what the legislatively things have looked like, but then also how we keep people engaged, how we keep the discussion going so that your work and what you try to affect change within your community is in front of a lot of different folks at many times. So this has been something very important to us, and we are going to continue this. And next slide, please, Heather. A few things we want to point out. Take a look at our policy agenda, again, available online, and we can share it out after that meeting. Heather, happy to put this in a resource packet that you might be making available, and just gives folks an idea of how United Way is participating. And I think all of you should consider joining if you go to the platform and get an opportunity to sign up for some of our advocacy newsletter work, but also maybe the breakfasts and things that we're going to start moving forward with now that gathering in person is available. We would love for you to join us because this has been a focal point of the work and something that we've had a lot of interest in. Again, I go to our corporate funders and our legislators. They are really interested in this information. We're trying to do a nice job distilling it and sharing it out in the organization. And with our partners like the YWCA, the YMCA, we take our 211 information, for example. All of this comes together to really inform and help people understand the situation that we are living in Northwest Ohio, and then obviously working with the state level to have these discussions as well. And if we go to the next slide, please. You can get an idea of just some of the supports we provided, the way that we were voicing for you. Also, some of the dollars invested and really making sure that that's understood as well. And if we'll go to the next slide, we even went to the extent, and I was really thankful that Lucas was putting us in touch with this, thinking about not just affordable childcare, which is absolutely critical. We were also really focused on quality. So did spend some time really sending letters, soliciting, information from and giving back to our legislators, and staying on top of this as much as possible, especially as the budget went through. We were very concerned that this would not be the focal point it should be. And we're seeing families hurt. I think about when Wendy was talking about just these dire straits families are in when it comes to food and what that means. Childcare is right there too. We all know that, and we need to figure out solutions, want to be a part of that. So some of the things we're taking forward as next steps, and if we go to the next slide, please. Really thinking about, what we've learned from a recent survey we did with businesses to understand where they're situated, trying to understand our company. So United Way is uniquely positioned because it does work with 500 companies locally, whether they're very small organizations all the way up to very large ones like Dana, OI, that sort of thing. We were able to get some survey information, and then first of all, how they're situated even with family leave. Take a peek at, what they're learning from their employees related to childcare. And then as we went through the survey process, getting this information back to them, we think is essential. And then looking at what next steps are needed to help people get back to work, to feel like they've got good childcare available to them. We call it work without worry. It's essential to us. As you know, at United Way, we have our 211 resource, and 211 is interesting. People call and they're usually looking for food, and we know, Wendy, we've connected a lot of that information in the last couple of years, especially, but also housing. And then we were experimenting a little bit with placing people in jobs because our big employers, like I mentioned, Dana and OI and Anderson's, had some positions available. And so seeing about these folks calling, looking for work, or creating solutions. Well, childcare is right there too. We do refer from 211 to the YW's resource and information effort to get people placed into daycare. But what we'd like to do with 211 ultimately is kind of help people find a path. We like to think that 211 could be that one call they make, and then they kind of get their work right in front of them. It's distilled and the information is available, whether it is finding a job, finding food, learning about housing, learning about childcare, all of that. We want to make this the most robust resource we can. So a lot of the data that we're taking in, a lot of the information we're exchanging, we think these surveys will be helpful. We want to get all of this information in the hands of HR folks around the community. And then with you, those of you who provide care, maybe give you some insight into what employers are thinking and feeling that you haven't seen before. So we will be sharing this out. We will continue to advocate, and especially for quality and access for families. We know those are crucial points of interest. affordability, you know, all of it. And then also always collecting data and assessing. As I said, we've been around for 100 years. We do have lots and lots of data points over the years. You may not be familiar, United Way, about 3 years ago, when I came in, one of the things we worked on, we have tremendous leadership in this space, building out a community analytics resource center, focused on what the families need. It goes to an aggregated model. So working with smaller partners to build out this information is essential. It helps, as I said, employers all the way to those of us who provide resources, you know, to understand the landscape and what it looks like to be a family in Toledo, Ohio, and what the needs are and how we really help people who live on the edges of benefits cliffs and, you know, just all the needs that can make your life very difficult or make it a lot easier if you know how to manage it. So we're hopefully there with these resources. We are there for you. I want to introduce, if Lucas, if you could wave and say hello, or, you know, just because he has been the one really spearheading this and working so hard. And we appreciate everything Lucas and his team have done and look forward to what the future holds. And Lucas, you know, if you want to add anything, but appreciate questions later. And of course, Lucas and I will be happy to answer those.
Nothing to add, just again, kind of to echo Wendy's call to action, you know, please check out our advocacy resources on our website. That was on the previous slide, unitedwaytoledo.org/advocate. Join our newsletter, join our efforts, find ways to participate. We're always looking for individuals who care obviously deeply about the future of our children, who care deeply about high quality early child care. So again, if you would like to be a voice in our efforts and maybe join us for some roundtables with elected officials, or join us in our letter writing campaigns, in-person outreach, digital outreach to our legislators, we would certainly appreciate it.
And it helps if I come off mute when I'm going to talk to you. How's that? I said, thank you, Wendy and Lucas, for sharing all that with us. We greatly appreciate it. How about if we move to Kristen Junga with Children's Resource Center down in Bowling Green?
All right, let me get mine pulled up here. Start on the right one. And so much moving that you have to do with Zoom. Bars everywhere. As Heather said, my name is Kristen Junga, and I am from Children's Resource Center in Bowling Green. We are a multifaceted mental health agency who provides services for children from the ages of 0 all the way up to the age of 25 and their families. And the piece that I'm going to talk about today is our prevention services. I am the program manager for the infant and early childhood mental health program. And our real goal is to build the capacity and resilience of adults who care for children ages 0 to 8. So prevention services are working with the adults in children's lives. And we feel that if we can help the adults in how they're feeling about parenting and supporting their children, then obviously that's going to go and impact the children. This is one of my favorite quotes, and I just think it is so crucial right now during the last 18 months when we've been dealing with the pandemic. And when little people are overwhelmed by big emotions, it's our job to share our calm, not join their chaos. And adults right now are feeling that chaos a lot, whether it's from their work, for families, getting kids to school, dealing with exposure and everything. So we are just really trying to help the adults kind of bring some of that stress and chaos down a little bit so that they can model that for their children. So some of our services that we have, we provide family support and parent education. And we do this, I'm going to go into each one of them a little bit further in detail. And also the counties, because we provide services in 18 counties, some sort of service in 18 counties in Northwest Ohio. So I'll detail that in just a second. But we also provide infant and early childhood mental health consultation. We have a sexual abuse program for preschoolers. And in Wood County, we also do that for in the 3rd grade, we use the CAP program. We have early childhood school and family liaisons right now in Bowling Green. We've also had them in Lake and Northwood schools. We also facilitate social emotional groups for children. So we have trained facilitators in the Incredible Years, and we go into schools and preschools and use their big puppets and books, songs, all kinds of different things to help children with this. And we do a lot of community outreach as well. In the counties that we work in, we do Child Find events. We are part of our Project Connect in Wood County. And right now we are really just helping parents get what they need as far as essential services and materials items. We do a lot of connecting to 211 and Salvation Army, and just to make sure that families have what they have or what they need right now. So these are some of the counties that we're in. Our family support and parent education is, we have providers in Defiance, Fulton, Hancock, Putnam, Ottawa, Seneca, Sandusky, Williams, and of course, Wood. Wood is our primary location. That's where we have most of our staff working. And then our consultants are in Allen, Defiance, Fulton, Hancock, Henry, Mercer, Paulding, Putnam, Van Wert, and Wood. And we have a master trainer that trains in 18 counties. So that would include Lucas as well. And we'll, like I said, we'll talk about those in just a little bit more in a few. We have a new program that we started this past year called Primary Cure Triple P, and several of you might be familiar with Triple P. It was a big state rollout within the last 3 and 4 years ago. So we right now are in Hancock County at the Kaufman Center and Blanchard Valley Pediatrics. We are also in 4 pediatric agencies in Wood County. And then just some miscellaneous, miscellaneous programs that we have. We will do them in all the counties that are asking, mainly in Wood County, but we do some of these other things in other counties. We are funded solely by grants and our local Adams board. So we do get some United Way funding. We also get funding through the Ohio Children's Trust Fund and the Ohio Mental Health Board. We do not charge anything for our services, so they're free to all participants. I'm going to explain just a little bit about our family support and parent education program. We see families from all cultures and diversity. We deal with a lot of kinship families and grandparents and foster families as well. Our family support and parent education program is really based on the Strengthening Families framework, which looks at 5 protective factors, including parental resilience, social connections, knowledge of parenting and child development, and concrete supports at times of need, which we've been doing a lot of during this pandemic, and then the social and emotional competence of children. So this is an overarching kind of our umbrella framework that we go with. And then we do also use evidence-based curriculums and models as well. So we have a home-based program where we actually have staff go into the homes, like a home visiting program. We feel like that's a better place to meet the parent where they're at, and that's where they feel most comfortable. We've been doing a lot of virtual the last 18 months, but parents are really coming to the point where they want the connection again. We have the primary Triple P in the pediatric offices. We do have a group, ACT Raising Safe Kids, and that is a 9-session group where parents learn some basic parenting skills, as well as the effects of media and violence and different parenting styles. Triple P also has some discussion groups and seminars, so we are doing those right now virtually, and it's just a different variety of topics that we use. We just got funded for parent cafes that we will be starting very soon. And again, our community outreach. Our mental health consultation is quite big in the state. In Ohio right now is the leading state for infant and early childhood mental health consultation. We were using a model from Georgetown University, and we were lucky enough to work closely with them and be able to develop our own model for Ohio. We are also working with Dr. Walter Gilliam and Dr. Chin Rays out of Yale's Edward Ziegler Center in Child Development. And here's just some shocking statistics that I wanted to share. And that first one there, preschool children are 13 times more likely to be suspended or expelled than children K through 12 combined, which to me just blows my mind. And there's been many studies too that where there's a direct link about the incarceration of adults, and those adults were expelled during those younger years. And what's really important right now is that Dr. Gilliam and Dr. Rays are looking at the effects of the pandemic, and they're noticing that teachers with high stress level suspend and expel at a higher average than those who have average stress or less stress. And here, the bottom one was kind of a shocker for me too, that almost 200,000 preschool children were suspended or expelled last year in the United States. And I'm stealing Dr. Gilliam's thunder, but that equals out to everybody in attendance at the Ohio State football stadium, as well as the two ball diamonds in Cincinnati and Cleveland. So think about all those stands filled with young children. So what we do in consultation is we work directly with the teachers and the administrators to help them with skills so they can help those children that they have in their classroom. It's a non-direct service. So we're not working directly with the child. Again, we are working with the teacher and the adults in their life and with their parents as well. And our goal is to reduce those expulsions and prepare children so that they're ready for school. And we have been getting for garden for those children who were not in preschool the last couple. Old. And in preschool, they've spent half their life isolated from everyone. So they are not prepared for school. We have a lot of aggression. We have a lot of just very excitable children when they come in because they've never been around children before. So the types of consultation that we have are individual child, classroom, and programmatic. Individual child, while it sounds like it's a direct service, we're actually just working if a classroom, a teacher has a child that is having some challenging behavior, or they've experienced some trauma or something like that, where it makes it difficult for them to be in the classroom, we will work with that child or work with that teacher to help that child with some strategies. We use what's called the DECA, the Devereaux Early Childhood Assessment, to help in that and bring strategies to the teacher to use. And then classroom, we use if we have a new teacher, we'll come in and help her with some strategies and help her set up her classroom that is more trauma informed and more social emotionally prepared for children. And also if a teacher has several children in a class that may be having some challenging behavior, then we will work with the whole classroom and helping that teacher prepare some strategies. And then our programmatic is working with the administrators to set up the trauma-informed classrooms, and we will look at policies, procedures, different things that would make it more socially, emotionally rich for the families and also trauma-informed. Just briefly, the SAP and CAP programs, we go into the preschools and we use puppets, music books. It's kind of like a circle time, and it is a 1 week, about a 4-day with a half an hour to an hour circle time, which I know is a lot for some kids, but we engage them and we do lots of activities with them during that time. We talk about private parts, we give the appropriate names. We also talk about some bullying and how to get along with our friends in school. And then also if we tell them, you know, safe touch and not safe touch, and then how to tell somebody, a trusted adult, if they. And our early childhood school liaisons, they do a variety of different jobs. What we're really trying to do right now is work with families where children have low attendance. And that's extremely important right now because families are pulling children out of classrooms and that sort of thing because of the pandemic. So we try to support those families and help them get the children back in school. And just lastly, this is our little social emotional superpowers. We say that if the adults can make the connection, help to co-regulate and take care of themselves, then children are going to be more prepared for school. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Kristen. And now we will go to, and Alex, if I butcher your last name, I'm sorry. Alex is Boroff with Great Lakes Community Action.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen, and please let me know if you see it. Okay, can everybody see our website on the screen?
Yes.
Thank you. So yes, my name is Alex Boroff. I'm from Great Lakes Community Action Partnership. I am the Public Relations Director. What I wanted to note is that some of my fellow staff members are on the call who are also from GLCAP and work in our Head Start program. So I'm going to go as quickly as I can through this, and I'm going to speak in broad strokes, but without putting any of my fellow staff members on the spot. They can absolutely answer the specifics much better than I can because they work day in and day out in those programs. And I just wanted to say hi and acknowledge that you're there. So Great Lakes Community Action Partnership, Community Action Agency, what that means is we were founded in when President Lyndon Johnson signed the Economic Opportunity Act of 1964 that created community action. Shortly thereafter, we formed as WSOS. That may be a common name to some. That stood for Wood, Sandusky, Ottawa, and Seneca County. Those are our core counties. They remain our core counties. We changed our name in 2018 to Great Lakes Community Action Partnership because the reality was that we expanded beyond those core counties with our services. The history of community action is such that our programming used to be rooted within one federal agency, the Office of Economic Opportunity. That agency dissolved, and the programs were spread out throughout the other federal agencies. So some of our programs, the funding comes from the Department of Health and Human Services, some comes from Housing and Urban Development, some comes from Department of Energy. What that means, what that means for us is that's who we seek our funding from. We're predominantly federally funded. What that means for the end user, probably not a whole lot, except to know that when I walk through some of these programs, some of the requirements are a little different. So some are going to be at one level of, you might be eligible if you're 100% of federal poverty, some you might be 150%, some it might be 200%. So it's just important to know that when you're looking at our programs, there is no flat standard. For Lucas County, the reason I chose to go with the website as opposed to a presentation is the other thing that means for the end user is that we're funded for some of our programs in some counties and some for other counties. So it's helpful to, if you're interested in the service, to go directly to the page, look at the information on the page, and not maybe just assume that all of our programs serve every county. Starting with some of our child care and education programs, Head Start and Early Head Start remain our biggest programs. Roughly almost 45% of our expenditures last year were in these programs. We served more than 1,500 children in Wood, Sandusky, Ottawa, Seneca, and Lucas County through Head Start, Early Head Start. Going to the preschool page here. So if you were to go to glcap.org, and if you ever want to navigate our programs, if you go to glcap.org, pull down this drop-down menu. We've listed programs by the target audience, so to speak, so we tried to make it helpful that way. And if you were to go in here, it navigates you to the page you were just at, and then you can select from there, learn more about our programs. But for Head Start, we do operate centers in Lucas County. Head Start is not only our largest program, but it's probably Community Action's most well-known program, I would say. Starts with the intention of providing preschool to children who came from families who maybe couldn't afford it, to help them get ready for kindergarten, and to also provide a safe place for children to go during the day, help it so that parents who are working can go work and know that their children are cared for. That's where it begins, and that's really the crux of what it still is. We provide full day care for children at our centers. In Lucas County and some other counties, we work with partner centers. So you'll see a list of our child care partners on the site. These are not centers that we own per se, but we have Head Start funded slots at these centers. So say you wanted your child to attend X daycare, we could fund them for that slot in that daycare. And then part of that partnership is that center meets the Head Start standard. So we do have those options as well. Applications for families. It's pretty simple on our website. We have two different applications, one for Ottawa, Sandusky, Seneca, and Wood County, the other for Lucas County. That's because of the nature of the grants and how we're funded that we keep those separate. But just click on the county that you want to apply for, enter your information, and we will be in contact. Head Start is for children from families who are at 100% of federal poverty guidelines or below, but there are some exceptions. And we always tell families that it's best to, and not just for Head Start, but it's best to apply, it's best to talk to somebody and figure out if you're eligible or not, rather than just assuming that you're not eligible. We'd rather have somebody talk to us and find out maybe they don't meet the requirements than miss that one person who self-eliminates. So we always advise that people talk to us. Also in Lucas County, we do offer a home repair program that serves Lucas County with the exception of Toledo. So what this is a grant-funded program that helps people who maybe need one or two major home repairs. So this could be fixing of a major plumbing issue, or a major electric issue, doing an ADA modification to the home. You go to glcap.org/home repair, find some of the eligibility guidelines, and also it says application, but you have more of a referral form because the CHIP, it's from, I call it CHIP, it's from the Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program. We're a world of acronyms here. We just call it the Home Repair Program. It's a very extensive application, but a good place to start is by going to our website again, clicking the referral, entering your information, going from there. So those are two programs that I think are of benefit to Lucas County in particular. I know that we have some people who are on Wood County on the call. One program in particular that I wanted to mention is our home energy assistance program. So we do offer utility assistance in our 4 core counties: Woods, Sandusky, Ottawa, Seneca. These include deductions from your utility bill, from your electric provider or gas provider, so a credit to your bill to help offset the cost of utilities. Emergency heating help in the winter. That program is going to start November 1st. So if you can't make a utility payment, if you're at risk of shut off, if you're on propane or some kind of heating fuel and your supply is running low, we can help you pay for that. We also offer utility bill payment plans, which are fixed rates per month for those who are income eligible. So depending on your income, we'll look at that and then work with your provider to set a fixed rate that you will pay per month. Another program that I'll mention is we do offer homeless assistance with Sandusky, Ottawa, Seneca County, and then some counties to the east of that. And then also veteran homeless assistance. We can include Lucas County in there. We do offer some veteran-specific housing assistance. So again, if somebody is at risk of eviction, needs help with rent, etc., we can help with that. Final program I want to mention is, you've heard of the CARES Act funding. We're the entity that provides that in the 4 core counties. So if anyone needs COVID-related assistance, we can help with utility payments, we can help with rent, we can help with mortgage, so long as you have a hardship that is caused in some way related to COVID. So you've lost work, you've had to stay at home with your kids, something that is a financial hardship related to COVID. One thing I also wanted to mention is we're part of the Ohio Association of Community Action Agencies. So I think this is helpful. If you go to oacaa.org and say you're looking for a community action agency near you, you can type in your zip code here or your city, and you can find a community action agency that serves you. So we may not be able to offer, say, one of our services in X county, but if you wanted to find the agency that does, this is a helpful site for that. Other site I wanted to mention, development.ohio.gov. This is where our funding for those utility assistance programs comes from, or is funneled through, rather. It comes from the federal government, then it's funneled through the state, then comes to us. So this site is not as navigable for me, so I apologize. But if you were to go to development.ohio.gov, type on select individual assistance, look at energy assistance programs, you can find information about those utility assistance programs that I just mentioned. And some of those applications for our purposes, they end up going directly to the state. So again, we do not serve Lucas County through those utility assistance programs, but this is one way that if you're in Lucas County, you might be able to direct people to if they were looking for that kind of assistance. So with that, thank you for listening, and I will cede the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. And I really appreciate that, because you actually shared some of the information that I forgot to mention to everybody. I know we've got a lot of people from around the areas on. So we tried not to focus specifically on Lucas County. It's hard not to, though, since that's where we are, but there are community action agencies down, everywhere. So if you're not familiar, use that link. United Way is all over the place. So if you're not familiar with your United Way, I'm sure we can help you get connected if you're not from the Toledo area. Same thing with agencies similar to Connecting to Kids to Meals, as well as the mental health agencies that Kristen was mentioning. So I want everybody to realize that even though these specific agencies may not be in your area, there are agencies that are like that. So we might be able to help you get in connection with them. Our last presenter is Joseph Smith from CareSource. And he's another one that there's a lot of different things. They are up here. They're all over the region. So I'm going to let him share everything that they have to offer.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I'm Joseph Smith with CareSource. I'm actually out of our corporate headquarters in Dayton, but I'm up here at Owens College today. They kind of gave me a place to rest my hat for the day, so I appreciate that. So a lot of folks may have heard of CareSource, but give you a brief history here. We're a non-profit healthcare company. We've been around for over 30 years. We're actually in all 88 counties, so it doesn't matter where you're at. We're also in Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, and the state of Georgia. I've actually been with the company, March will be 20 years. So been around a long time and very familiar with this area up here. I actually been to Toledo all the time and also used to live in Lima, which is not far from right down in Allen County, but I am very familiar there. CareSource covers over 1 million folks here in the state of Ohio alone. And we work with a lot of families who are on Medicaid, whether they're on Medicaid, Marketplace, or even on Medicare. But I did want to touch base with folks, a couple of things that are really critical with our youth and everything. One is vaccines, the normal vaccines, the vaccination that young people are. We are really behind on that because of COVID. It has really created a problem where folks are not taking their children in to get their vaccines. Another critical area is dental. Folks aren't bringing their kids in to get the normal dental exams and things of that nature. And that is probably one of the most neglected areas when it comes to child health care is the dental. And it really it impacts the children's ability to learn and to have a decent quality of life. I did want to share my screen with you folks on a couple of items there. And hopefully this will navigate okay. And let's see, let me come up with this here. Oh, I don't know if it's going to come up here for me here. I apologize for that. Let me see if I can get this. I am not getting mine to operate correctly here. Let me come in and come back out. Hopefully I'll be able to get this to go here. I sincerely apologize, but I will go ahead and read this out. There's a couple of programs going on right now. Reference the COVID vaccines that folks may or may not be aware of. If your child, and this pertains to your families, not so much the younger children, but if your child is 12 years or older, they're eligible at vaccine events that they're having here throughout the state, throughout the region, where they can actually get a $100 gift card for their first dose of getting the COVID vaccine. And that, as long as they're on one of the managed care plans, it doesn't matter whether it's CareSource or the other plans, they are eligible for that. And they're holding that throughout the state. That has been a huge thing that is going on from around the area there. And then the other thing is the Vax to School, which is occurring. And that's where young folks 17 and older can register up to age 25, where the state right now is registering folks. If they get their vaccine and everything, the state has allocated award of 150 scholarships worth $10,000 each, and then $500,000 scholarships to any Ohio college or university for career or technical education. So those are two programs that are going right now, and that is eligible for anybody across the state. The big thing is they have to go in and enroll to become eligible, but that is very important. There's some opportunities out there. I know I have a freshman at Miami University, and yes, I have signed her up, put her name in the hat. So maybe she'll get an opportunity to get some money there. So, you know, I know it's been a lot of controversy reference to COVID and a lot of things that varies county to county, school district to school district, but we want to do everything we can to keep our young folks safe if all possible there from that standpoint. That was really it on my end. Just want to, like I said, emphasize, I will make sure that my number is in the chat. This will be my direct line that comes directly to me. It will be my cell phone number. So if you have any questions or after this, or if you have community events and you would like for us to be there to answer questions for your parents or, you know, other folks in the family, we're more than happy to attend those community events for you also. So Heather, at this time, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Joseph. And I want to thank all of my community panelists. That's a lot of really great information. Like I said, it's not all about the academics. Our kids need so much more than just knowing their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s before they get to school, and then continuing on. So does anybody have any questions for any of our panelists right now?
Hey, Heather, if I can I show this real quick? Sure.
Sure.
I did get it to work there. See if it'll come up. That there is on the VAX event, VAX a school outreach campaign there. And hope everybody can kind of see that. And I was able to find the other one too, thank goodness. And that's the other flyer on the $100 incentive, just so you folks are aware. And if you need copies of that, like I said, I'll put my email and phone number in there. I actually have this in electronic form. I can get that to you. Thank you, Heather.
No problem. Thank you, Joseph. Anybody have any questions for any of our panelists? As we've said before with the other speakers, I think I have, Kristen, I think did you send me your PowerPoint too? If you didn't, if you can, we're putting all the speakers' PowerPoints on our website with the interactive agenda after this. So then all those resources will be available. One other resource, if nobody has any questions, I do want to make sure everybody's aware of the Ohio Consumers Council. I can always get you the contact information for Amy Carls. Unfortunately, too much bureaucratic red tape. She was not able to be on with us today to share all of her great information. But like the one website that Alex showed you with the heat assistance, things like that, those are things that the Ohio's Consumer Council also assists you with understanding all of your rights with some of your utilities and things like that. So I do want to make sure that people are aware of that resource out there that could also help your families. And if there are no questions, you get an extra 3 minutes on your break. So I will give everybody, here's how the rest of the afternoon goes. We have another break from 2 to 2:15. Give you up, get you stretched. And then we will have our closing session, which our closing session is Dr. Ruslan Slutsky from the University of Toledo. And he's going to be talking to us about the importance of play in the lives of young children and how it's changing. Right before that starts, right at the tail end of the break, I'm going to do random number generator drawing for some door prizes that CareSource has provided to us. And I'll also do some at the very end after Ruslan's presentation. So make sure that you guys jump back into the other link, use the interactive agenda and jump back in, and we will see everybody at 2:15. Thank you again, presenters. I greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, Belinda, you have your hand up.
That's okay. I thought that I thought I saw on the agenda that Elise's husband was singing from 2 to 2:15, but maybe that changed.
Oh, no, I think you're right. I don't think Michelle updated her script.
Okay. I thought,
There was a break, and then we had to lengthen Ruslan's to get him so that he could have CEUs. So that would be why so they'll all jump back in, and
that's what I figure. That's exactly
Chuck as they need. If they needed a bathroom break, they would have got up anyway. So right.
That's exactly what I thought. All right.
Perfect.
That was good. Good job.
All right. Thanks, Belinda.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.